Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're hailing from. Welcome to a brand new series here on OpenShift TV, the future of OpenShift administration with the PM and UX design team. This is a very special show. If you are used to our developer experience office hours, we have the OpenShift administrator office hours, but we have the Serena from the future time. That's designed around like the dev console. This is designed around the admin console where I spend my time, right? Like, so I'm super excited that this show is on and we finally got it up and running. So Ali is kind of the head of the team. I'm gonna hand it off to Ali and get us up to speed on what's going on here.
Yeah, will do. Thanks for the intro, Chris. Hey, everybody, my name is Ali Moburn. I'm the product manager for the OpenShift console, specifically around the admin side. So I'm kind of like Serena's counterpart. She focuses everything on the developer side, and I kind of focus everything on the admin side. Super excited to be here today. We're planning to show you some really cool stuff in the UI, and then we're also trying to show you guys some future stuff. So we'd love to get some feedback from everybody on what you think the direction we're taking the console in, and really, get in it with you all and have a couple demos today. So should be fun. With me, I brought part of the UXD team with me. As you see, we have Bree. Let's start off with you. You want to introduce yourself?
Hey everyone, yeah, I'm Bree and I work on the UXD team, and I'm a designer on the OpenShift admin console, so we'll be sharing some designs with you today.
And then we also have Chris with us. Want to say hi to everybody, Chris?
Hi, I'm Chris. I'm also an interaction designer on OpenShift, and I work mostly in the observability, so monitoring metrics and alerting space.
And as a special guest, we also have Andy Block here, one of our
who let that guy on?
Architect.
Twice in 1 week. I don't know how I was able to swing that together. Hi everyone, Andy Block, senior. I have a new role, distinguished architect at Red Hat. Who? Yes. I work with customers. That's why I'm coming in quite a moment late, because I was coming just off a customer call right now. But just keeping it real. But excited to show some of the cool ways you're going to be able to customize the OpenShift experience and kind of lead into some discussions that are going to kind of work together over the next few weeks. Stay tuned.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, very cool. Well, thanks everybody for joining us today. So let's jump into it. I got like a little bit of a few slides to show you guys, and then we'll get into the demo. First thing I kind of want to talk about is the themes or the areas we want to focus on with the console. All right. So number one, I have up there OpenShift equals Kubernetes. I want everybody to understand that OpenShift is Kubernetes. There's no difference, no fork. It's legitimately Kubernetes. We have a few add-on services, but OpenShift equals Kubernetes. And that's why we kind of have the 4 different areas, right? Developing Kubernetes, learning Kubernetes, extending Kubernetes, and managing. The first section, developing, that's kind of like Serena's domain, the developer console. She does a lot of great stuff for helping developers get onboarded and to develop and to deliver their apps onto OpenShift. The second area of focus that we have is educating users, right? Kubernetes is a big, complex beast sometimes. And
are you sharing a screen right now or not?
Am I not? Oh, sorry.
Whoops.
Thought it was.
Thank you, InfoSec A12.
How about now?
Yes, you are.
Excellent.
There we go.
Sorry about that.
Nah, it's cool, man. The screen sharing thing is always a little roll of the dice. So don't feel bad about that.
Yeah. Well, we're all set now. So back to the mandates, right? So the second one is educating users on Kubernetes, right? Like it's a big complex beast. Things are always changing. And one of the things that we want to do is if someone's learning how to do Kubernetes or trying to figure something out, we want them to come to the console to help them figure it out, understand how to do it. And then later, if they want to go and automate it or script it or do whatever they need to do, they should be able to do that, right? But we want their first stop to be come to the console, figure it out with us, and then do what you need to do. The second thing, or the third thing we have here is extending Kubernetes. This is where we're going to focus our conversation today. This is all about coming in and customizing the console and being able to do things natively within OpenShift console. So super excited to share how to do that today, and then some of the future stuff around that area. And then the last theme that we like focus on, of course, is managing Kubernetes, right? We want to make it really easy for people to come and administrate it, be able to come troubleshoot, just get visibility into the platform and understand what's going on and how to come and resolve issues as fast as possible. So those are our big themes that we focus on. So let's do a little bit of a deeper dive in extending Kubernetes. All right, so we have different extension mechanisms, right? If you look on this diagram, far left is very focused on Red Hat only, their native plugins, and the far right is for ISVs and customers, right? So if our partners or vendors want to come and deploy some kind of service, or our customers want to deploy some kind of service onto the platform and make it native, we give you hooks so you can, right? And in the middle, we have OLM descriptors. That is operator extension mechanism. So if you come in and you have an operator that deploys or delivers you a service with OLM descriptors, you can now come in and customize how that experience looks like. We're going to save that one for a different talk because that's pretty complex, in-depth.
Yeah.
We're going to bring in our expert in-house OLM master, Tony Wu, for our next session. So tune in for that one. Should be very exciting. But for today, we're going to talk about all the extension points we have via CRDs, right? And there's a reason we did it this way. Previously in OpenShift 3, you were able to come in and kind of just inject JavaScript wherever and extend the console that way. It was very flexible and allowed you to do a lot of stuff, so which is pretty powerful. But the problem was when you upgraded, there was a high probability that your console would break. And one of our big things for OpenShift 4 is that we want to be able to come and upgrade your cluster over the air. We want to guarantee that it's always working and up and running. That's why we have, we rebuilt OpenShift 4 with operators and over there upgrades and all that great stuff. So for OpenShift 4, we became very prescriptive of where we're going to make the console extensible. And we're doing that via CRDs. So let's get into that.
Nice. And if you're not familiar with CRDs, custom resource definitions, they went GA in Kubernetes 1.116, and they are a kind of a linchpin of operators, essentially, right? Like operators are, create custom resources or you define custom resources, and operators use CRDs as a big part of that. So yeah, this is cool.
It's definitely a way to, provide things natively in Kubernetes, right?
As a developer, I love CRDs because it allows me to take what Kubernetes has natively and build upon it.
Yeah.
And operators allow you to do whatever and manage whatever you'd like. It's up to you. The world's your oyster.
Right. Yeah.
So the first set of CRDs that we've enabled for the console are listed here. The first one is the console link CRD. This allows customers or other operators to come in and to, for example, update the help menu. You can come in and put links to your own documentation if you want, or to your own internal sites if you're a customer. We also have links, ability to update the user menu if you want to add anything there related to your users. And then for console links, you have the ability to update the application menu, which is our app launcher. It's a little 3 score at the very top. A very good use case for this is, say you deploy, say CouchDB, right? And CouchDB's got its own dashboard to help you manage all your CouchDB services running on OpenShift. They would be able to put a link in there, and then at any point, your users come in, link off, go to that dashboard, and be able to do any type of database management if you needed to do. Right, so that's a use case there. And the last one we have here is project level, and this is more of the use case is I'm installing Service Mesh, but Service Mesh is only going to manage a certain namespace, right? And you want to add that link to the project dashboard because it's in context. It's not a cluster-wide scope item like the application launcher is, but it's a project scope service. So we allow you to add links that way. The next item we have is the console notification CRD. That's that green banner you see up top here. You're able to come in and either put a banner at the top of the screen, bottom of the screen, or both. It's really a great way to notify users of kind of what's going on with the cluster. A couple use cases there are, I want to make, put a bright red banner on this thing to say, hey, this is our production cluster, just in case you have, a bunch of clusters and you're tabbing through,
Right.
different people come to like production and accidentally
Yeah.
see something or somewhere else.
Because for some people, like they might just change just the actual domain name, and that's it. Like that's the only difference between dev prod and staging whatever. Yeah. So you those banners are handy.
Yeah, especially since like production staging are meant to look exactly and identical to each other, right? So that banner is a very nice thing to have. Other use cases that we could actually use for this is if you want to kind of present some message to your users, like, hey, we're gonna have an outage tonight, like from 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. You could use this mechanism to broadcast to everybody there. So I have a question for everybody. Right now, our console notification, right, only allows to do cluster wide. So we can't say, hey, only do it for certain projects.
Okay.
Would that be of interest to anybody? Another thing that we're thinking about is putting a timer on this thing. Like, hey, I just want to have this banner show up because we are going to have an outage from 2 to 5, and I want these few hours before to like warn everybody about it. So Tuesday, come and show this because Wednesday we're going to have the outage. So we could add a timer to that. Another thing we were thinking about is making the banner dismissible. So you just want people to see the message, and once they see it, they go ahead and dismiss it, and then it goes away. So these are the type of things we're trying to understand how valuable it would be to our customer base.
So, I mean, for me, yes, all of it, right? Like, I don't know if that's a viable option, but I'm curious what other people think on the call. So someone hit the fairway says yes to dismissible.
Okay.
I'm like the namespace scoped ones, because let's say we have an application team and you're going to do some QA testing or et cetera. Don't blow any pods away. Don't do testing. We got QA members in here.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good use case that I would see.
Definitely.
Yeah. So X Conspiracist says not so much a timer, but more like a option so banners expire on date. But dismissible should be admin customizable per banner. Like this is prod, this should not be disableable, right? Or dismissible. Yeah.
Sometimes you don't want them to take it away. Like example is this is the prod cluster. You don't want that to ever go away.
Yeah, like that needs to be a permanent one, right? Like a hierarchy of banners, maybe. Yeah.
Exactly. So very good feedback, y'all. Appreciate that. The next item I have in here is branding, and this is actually not a custom resource definition. It's actually just a config map. We'll show you how to do that today to update your logo if you want to update it, and also we'll show you how to update the login page as well. So that'll be fun if you guys want to just kind of customize the way the look and feel that you'll be able to do that. The next item we have in here is command line downloads. So currently, if you go to like our user menu, you'll be able to download some key command lines, right? So we kind of seeded with OC, ODO. I believe we're now putting in the Knative command line, and nice. I think there's a couple others. We'll go look at my latest 4.6 cluster that I'm gonna demo with. But if you again are a partner or whatever, and you have your own command line, when you deploy your operator can come and go ahead and add a link to your command line so your users can come and download it. And the nice thing about this too is whatever URL you point them at, it'll stay in sync. So they have the right version of the command line as well. So you can come in and update this resource anytime you need.
That's awesome.
So yeah, we really wanted to be able to like have our partners and customers put important pieces of information or links to tools that their users need right at the fingertip. And that's kind of the use case around that.
Yeah, so hit the fairway from chat says like Argo CD would be one, right? Like definitely
Yeah.
want something like that, right? Like
Exactly.
off you go. Yeah.
And that may be there. We'll find out when I bring up the cluster and we'll take a look. And then the very last one, which I'm not actually going to be able to demo today, is external log links. So when you're on your pods page and you're looking at the logs there, if you set this up, you could actually forward your logs to say Splunk or whatever tool you're using, and you'd be able to add a link there to like open that tool up for you and show your logs there.
Nice.
Yeah. So again, this is very prescriptive where we're allowing people to update, and it's based off of customer demand so far. So if anybody on the chat says, hey, I'd actually like to be able to extend here or somewhere else in the UI, please let us know, and we'll look into that for y'all.
So Mparam in chat says +1 if you agree to be able to remove the managed fields from the YAML view.
I've seen a lot of conversations about that, and I believe there's an enhancement that they are putting through. So be on the lookout for that in future versions.
Nice.
Okay, good. Thank you, Andy.
All right, so I talked a little bit about this earlier, kind of going a little bit deeper dive into the console link. This kind of just shows the scope, right? So the top item is the 3 square icon. This is for cluster-wide items. If you deploy a service that applies to the whole cluster and you want to link out to something for that service, this is the way to do it. So again, if you install service mesh and you do a cluster-wide and you want everybody to have access to a service mesh, you would put a link to the Kiali UI here, and users are off and away, and they could go easily get that. Or if you install service mesh just to a single project, we would put the link here in the project dashboard for you. So it's all about context and scope, and we try to respect that with the console links.
Nice.
All right, so the next thing we have is the YAML samples, right? This one is important, and the use case is this. I want to go and create something, and every time I do, I forget what the YAML looks like. I got to go Google it. I got to go find some kind of example on the web. Once I find it, then I bring it in and I can tweak it to get, do what I need to do.
Yeah.
So we wanted to save you that headache of having to go search for it and just embed it in the product. So for any Cube resource, you can come in and add a sample right there, and it'll show up every time every time you go to create. The samples will be on the side available for you. You can click try it, it'll replace the current YAML with it, and you're off to the races. No more searching the interwebs or GitHub or whatever to find that sample YAML. It's right there, right at your fingertips. Just it's there to make your life a lot easier. And then also, if you're an admin and you want people to use certain things a certain way, you could put your examples there to say, hey, keep it, within these kind of parameters.
Nice.
Yeah. So, question for again the audience, like, how often does that happen for you? Are you guys searching the interwebs for for samples a lot, or what other items can we put at your fingertip when you're creating objects that would help you? As you notice, we also have like a schema tab there, right? So that'll show you, we grab the API schema and we actually show you and bring the documentation in place, so you could kind of see what the all the different values are for that YAML as well.
So me personally,
Yeah.
I need samples all the time, right? So like the more samples I could just be like, here, put that in here, here, put that in here, here, put that in here, right? Like that for me would be great. But I don't know, like, is this a cluster wide thing? Is this a namespace thing? Is this a project thing? What are we talking about here?
So that's great. This again is cluster wide. And if you guys want to make it per user or per project, that could be future enhancements, right? We haven't, we haven't had the request to make it per person. But the other kind of cool
Right.
thing is if you make it per person, would you want to share it with your team then? Right.
Yes.
So
Yeah, like I would want to share all my like I don't want it to be like a like if this then that kind of service, right? Like here's my samples, share them all, right?
yeah,
Like, and then like everybody else can do that and we could actually build up like a official sample base, right? Like that would then get applied to the project kind of thing, right? Like I could totally see that happening.
yeah. So I mean, we started simple with everything. We tried building things out.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Hey,
yeah, yeah.
so we thought the biggest use case is like, I need this, and most likely other people are going to need this thing too. So let's
Yes.
just share it completely to the out wide cluster,
Mhm.
and then if they're worried about that, then we can come in and start scoping it down to just project, or then just the even users if this becomes highly used
Yeah.
at that with that mechanism, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like not to add more burden, but like a sample hub is almost like something that we need to build into this or something at some point, maybe way down the line if this feature does take off. But yeah, JP Dade, one of our most frequent viewers on DevNation and OpenShift TV and OpenShift Commons, he says samples are always good. So the closer they are, the better for him.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, that's what we're trying to do is make everybody's life easier with this.
Yeah, exactly.
So the thing about the samples too, I want to talk about real quick is if you click try it right there, it will come and replace the entire YAML with that sample.
Hmm.
The next thing we have is snippets. It's still also the console YAML sample, but you can set a Boolean. And what this does is we'll inject YAML into your existing YAML. So
Nice.
a great use of this is for like when you do pipelines and you have all these predefined tasks. You could add your own tasks there, some of the snippets, and then easily inject them in to your YAML. So those are the two use cases that we were trying to solve with the console YAML sample CRD.
That is slick. I really like that.
Yeah,
I mean, that'll help me a lot.
good. I mean,
Ex conspiracist says snippets. Ooh, that's cool.
yeah, this is actually, I believe, the brainchild of Serena. So like, she's always trying to figure out how to like make developers' lives easier, and
Right.
she knows that
She's all future minded. So
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. So JP Dad says I am old and a little dense. So the more real life examples that are spelled out are in documented work.
yeah. So question for I guess the audience: what are some Cube resources that you'd like to see some preceded samples?
Ooh, yeah. So like this is your chance to tell the people that would put the samples in what samples you want to put in.
Yeah.
What is something that you would normally be putting in as a snippet or as a full blown like I need this YAML file, drop it here kind of deal. Lay it out there, folks.
Yeah. So currently we offer a couple of like say network policy quotas or limits. We provide some examples of how to or some samples of how to update those Cube resources. So we're always trying to figure out where else we should see some samples. So let us know, and we'll spend energy to do that for y'all.
Here's a full blown feature request: validation of the YAML in the browser. Especially the structure, right? Like I get it. White space is hard.
Yeah.
The absence of something is not something the human eye is designed for. So yeah, I get that request 100%.
So with our YAML editor, it does do some checking of or validation of your YAML. So it'll kind of give you that squiggly line if your white space is a bit off. So there's that to help you.
Mm. It's not an obvious thing sometimes, but yeah, those squiggly lines mean stuff, right? Like, so pay attention to them, please.
All right, so some future stuff coming here. We promised, and here it is. In 4.6, we have created quick starts. I want you all to think of quick starts as a nice little tool to come discover some key services. I want you to think of quick starts as like interactive documentation to help you either come and set up a service or an operator onto your cluster, Or quick starts can be used to kind of deploy sample apps that will show or highlight that service, right? So in 4.6, we've seeded a couple. And the two areas we really focused on for services is to help you deploy your serverless operator, and then to deploy an app that takes advantage of serverless, and then also pipelines, right? So deploy pipelines operator and help you create the pipeline. And then we have a couple other ones here, which are just kind of guiding you through the console, right? These were primarily for the dev console, like monitoring your sample application. There's a nice little quick start to show you how to accomplish that. Now, the reason I'm talking about this and extending the console is, so 4.6, our MVP was to get this out, get this built, figure out the mechanisms, and we've done that, and we're going to keep adding content, right? So 4.7, we're going to probably create some quick starts for, OCS, the storage offering we have, for OpenShift virtualization, service mesh, et cetera, right? We're going to bring all these out. But in 4.7, we're also going to make this extensible. So for example, if you have an operator that you deploy and you want to show people how to take advantage of that service, let's go back to the database example, say your Mongo, you could go ahead and show people, hey, deploy this app. This app will find and use the Mongo service, and it'll walk you through how to deploy it and how to hook the service up together and how to get everything going. So when you want to go and deploy your own app to use that Mongo backend or whatever database backend, it should be much, much simpler for you. You've done it once with a sample app, and now you can go ahead and do it yourself. And that's the whole point of this. So we're going to open this up and allow everybody to create it. Something I also want to talk about here is the quick starts. In order to make this extensible, we had to try to keep it simple, right? So the content essentially comes in steps, and then each step is actually just markup language. So when you're creating these, you're just going to, add some markup to your CRD for this, and that will be displayed here and tell you where, you can tell users, where to go, how to configure items, and so forth. Some other things I want to talk about this is going to be accessible via the administrator and the developer side. So it'll be both perspectives. And then finally, we have a nice little design pattern there, and Bree will get into this, is like check your work, right? So after you do certain steps, we'll have an optional check your work section to say, hey, this is how you validate that this thing was actually, these steps are done correctly. Again, nice. Just trying to make sure that our users are successful.
Sweet. I've been chatting with a coworker. I've been neglecting the chat. Let's see. I'm not a programmer, but a bunch of YAML have become almost good at writing on it. Almost. It would be nice if some quick starts or operators could do some diagnostics or self-healing. There are 3 ways of doing things: the right way, the wrong way, and the totally screwed up way that I do it.
Well,
that support is never seen before.
but that's what operators try to do. They try to make it so it's all autopilot,
right?
In theory.
So yeah, I think what you're asking for is like a quick start to spin up operators.
You're looking for a meta operator.
Like a meta operator that's like, I need this full-blown app or stack maybe. Here's all the operators, off you go kind of deal.
Are they talking about that, or are they talking about, like, sometimes installing an operator can be complex, and then creating the right resources?
But like, right? Prerequisite maybe, yeah.
Right. So, like, for example, we look at the screen, we have installing pipelines operator. So you go there, and it'll tell you what prereqs you need to do. It'll tell you to create, get you to create the actual operator, and then it'll have you create the correct custom resources for that service, or how to configure those objects correctly, so then the pipeline service will run optimally or correct for you. So that's kind of the point of the quick starts, is things can be complex. We know that there's lots of bells and whistles things have. How do we come in and let the experts guide our users with that? So this is that mechanism. And we're already at 8:30 and we haven't even demoed anything yet. So I'm gonna speed up a little
Yeah,
bit.
sorry. I'm doing a bad job of keeping time and everything. So yeah.
All right. The last slide I want to show y'all is custom metrics dashboards. So previously, all our dashboards that we had were in Grafana, and we decided, to improve that experience, we're just going to make them native. So now all the dashboards that we provided out of the box for you for OpenShift are natively accessible within the console. You can still go out to Grafana if you want to and do more advanced things, but we took essentially the subset of items that we needed and we brought them in-house. Our plan for the future is to allow other people to come in and create their own dashboards, right? You just got to give us kind of like the Prometheus endpoint and what kind of chart you want, and essentially provide us some JSON that would be equivalent to what you'd see in Grafana, and then we could come and render these dashboards for you. So currently, our MVP was to bring our stuff into the console. That's been done. And then in the future, 4.8, hopefully, we'll have the opportunity to actually make this extensible as well. So I could give an example there. Let's go back to the database one. You can come in, and when your operator installs your database service, you can now add a dashboard that says, here's how your database is performing, the reads, writes, whatever you want to show that's valuable to your users. You could create a custom dashboard for that. And that's the use case behind that one.
Cool.
Yeah.
So I just tossed this out in chat, but it sounds like from the chat, like operator prerequisite quick starts is a high desire. But please, these custom metric dashboards I think are going to be huge as well. Being able to like put the stats that matter in to your organization and like for your business is huge. So yeah.
Yep. And then, all right, so we're done with this portion. Let's actually go to the demo. Oh, one other thing I'm gonna show you guys. This is a valuable link. If you come to the documentation for OpenShift, we have under Web Console, customizing the Web Console, all the items I showed you in the slides, the documentation is here, right? Adding custom logo, adding custom links within the console link CRD, they're all here, right? So if you later after the show you want to come and do this and you forgot what we showed you, come here and reference this and be able to do it on your own.
I'll drop a link to that in chat here in a second.
Excellent. All right. So here is my 4.6 cluster. I just spun this bad boy up, played with it a little bit already. So how do we go and get to the console CRDs? We have multiple ways, but I'll show you one of my favorite ways here. So you come to Explore, and Explore is one of the things we talked about, like educating and teaching users. We wanted to just kind of show you what every API is that's running here, what version it's at, if it's namespace. You're going to see a lot of stuff that's beta, what group it belongs to, alpha, like, so you can kind of come in and see exactly what is running on your cluster. This is a pretty powerful tool. It'll give you a description as well. And now let's go find the console CRD one. I'm coming here, I typed in console, and now you can see there are a bunch of Q resources here, right? So let's start with, let's create a notification. So when you're in this view, we kind of give you some of the details about this. You can come through here and look at the schema of this object to understand how to come in and update the YAML. It's all right here for you. You have access review, so you can see who has access to this, depending if you want to delete it, create, whatnot. So you have all the access information here. And then you have the current instances in your cluster. So right now we have no console notification. So let's create one. So we give you some default YAML right here. Again, the schema we bring for you right at your fingertips, so you can easily click through and update things. So let's just create this one and see what happens. Boom, click create. I now have my notification banner at the top. Here, we put an optional link in here as well. and voila. Now we can come and tweak this thing a little bit. And let's say we want to make this show up at the bottom. Click save. Ooh la la, it's at the bottom. Or if you want to, I believe do top and bottom. Oops. And you got dual banners.
Wow.
Now this could get real ugly real quick. So.
Right. Like I could see this getting like flashy, blinky web 1.0 ish, right? Like
Yeah. So I added a sample here too, right? An extra one. And so I could come and click try it. And it automatically changes his name to example 2. And it's going to be a background of yellow. So let's click create on this. And boom, double banner. Like I said, this could get out of hand quickly. So use sparingly.
Yeah. Yeah. Production, maintenance window.
Yeah.
At the bottom, link to your docs or whatever, maybe. Something like that.
Exactly. And so we don't have the expiration time stuff, but if you want to get creative, you could probably create like a cron job that comes in, creates this object, and then another cron job where they'll come and clean it up later. So some fun stuff you can do there. So let me click delete and get rid of these banners for us, or these notification bars. Nice. So yeah, that was one of them, right? That's the console notification. Now let's go and play with console link. So this is interesting. We already have 2 here. What does that mean? We have OpenShift log and OpenShift learning portal. Awesome. So what happened here is our console operator now, when it comes and spins up, we add a couple items here. And this points to the learning portal and the OpenShift log. So we're going to need quick links that we felt are valuable. And you could come in, and if you don't want these here, you could go ahead and delete them, and they'll be removed from the cluster. Or if you want to have them pointed somewhere else, you can do that as well. But let's go create our own console link. And the first one we have as a default, we'll add another help menu. We already saw that. That's these type of items. Let's go to samples and see what else we could do really quickly. So we have the ability to come and add something to the user menu. So if you come here right now, our user menu doesn't have any external items. Let's try it, create. And voila, we have this new user menu link. So if you guys have some other tool for your users that you need to authenticate or something, I don't know, you may want to go to some other dashboard, like say to your IDP or whatever, you'll be able to do that. And set that up there. Let's mess with the application menu. So by default, we just provide you the OpenShift cluster manager. Let's do application menu. So let's look at this one real quick. So this is a type application menu, right? We're going to create a new section called example section. And then we're going to provide an image URL. This means we could actually have our own icon here as well. And then here's the actual link to the item. So let's just change this to be, let's take this to Red Hat. Create. Now I come to the application chooser, and voila, you got your new section, you got your new application menu link, and you've got your icon is there as well. So if you're Kiali, Service Mesh, or any partner, you can come in and embed your icon and your logo and your link to your dashboard right here within the console. If I click this, it should take us to redhat.com. Unless I did a typo. Nope, there we go. And voila. All right. Let's go back and do Yaml samples. So I already created one here. Just a quick look. And this was for the notification, console notification, right? That was that yellow banner that was there before, or wasn't there before. And I'm like, you know what, let's add a sample to the console notification. And what it did was come and create that yellow banner and keep everything else kind of generic. And that was named example 2, because usually example 1, I always use the other one. But to come and create another one, this one is for type job. So right now, if we come to workloads, go to jobs, create job, you only see the schema, you get no samples. So we go back real quick and click create. Oh, I already did that one. Click create. Voila. We now have our new one we just created. If I come to jobs now, I go to create, and voila, sample just showed up. And again, in order to use it, just click try it, and it shows up there. Let's go back to this one, to the jobs. And let's add in snippet. Snippet is just the Boolean value, so you set true. Hit save. Excellent. We're going to go back to jobs, create job, and it shows up now as a snippet. So if I look here, it's a little bit different. You can actually do show YAML, so it'll show you exactly what's going to inject. And let's say I want to inject this at this spot into here. I click insert snippet, and voila, it puts it in, highlights it for you, and allows you to add that into your existing YAML object.
Cool. So Ali, there's a question in chat from ex-conspiracist. I'm going to just DM it to you because we're not going to be able to cover it on this show, and I don't want to bog you down with the question at this point, but it is worth revisiting in a future episode for sure. And I didn't want ex-conspiracist to feel like he was not being answered. So yeah, I'm quoting you right now to a DM to Ali, ex-conspiracist. Don't worry.
Yeah, and you know, if anybody ever wants to reach me, I'll share my Twitter handle. Just DM me, and you know, I love interacting with customers and users. So the more feedback I get, the better, and I'll share that with the team. So please reach out to me. All right, so the last one I want to show here is console CLI download. Out of the box, we're providing you Helm, Knative, OC, and ODO, and we can come here and look. Command line tools, and you can come and see that you are able to come and download any of these command lines for the cluster. Now, the interesting thing here is these all kind of point to some external resource to grab you these interfaces. I believe for OC, we actually kind of host it in the cluster, so we always know that your OC matches your cluster. So if your cluster ever gets upgraded, you easily come here, click download, and upgrade your command line as well. So that's available for everybody. All right, so let's go back here. Let's quickly create a new one. And this is an example. Get display name, description, links, and then the display text where they'll show up. You could have multiple links here. So if I click create, it should come here, command line tools. And now you see we have example CLI, and we have our link here. I want to go quickly back and just show you, for example, OC. So we can look at the YAML here. If you look at this link section, they have multiple because they have multiple deployment targets that they need to support Linux, Mac, Windows. So you're able to do this as well for your CLI if you need to do that. Any other questions so far?
It's a lot of talk about operators, and just, you know, operator needs and complexity of, you know, getting them, you know, prerequisites, I's dotted, T's crossed kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that whole ordeal. And Serena's in chat. I'm in chat. Andrew's in chat. There's a bunch of people in chat helping out right now. So thank you, everybody. Really appreciate that. All the red headers that are here right now. So let's just keep going forward. If you have questions, throw them out there. That's what we're here for, and we'll keep plowing ahead.
All right. So one other thing I kind of want to show is, so I said, we could access these things from a couple places. Explore is my favorite place. Another spot in the UI, you can come down to administrator, and we actually have a custom resource definition. This kind of filters out everything else other than custom resource definitions. Again, you just come in here and you would type in console, and you would be able to see all the console type extension mechanisms here, right?
Nice.
And then the last spot, if you also want to refine things, is you can do the search mechanism. You come to search, again, type in console, and you get all the stuff that way. And this kind of just takes you to the existing instances, and you'll be able to create right here as well. So
nice.
A couple of different ways to get to it.
That's pretty slick.
Yeah, thanks. So yeah, I mean, it's the console extension is a little bit hidden. You have to know about these CRDs. We haven't brought it out. So I guess the question is, we were thinking actually about doing a quick start of showing people how to use the console extension mechanisms, right? So that's on our to-do list with 1,000 other things. But question I guess for the audience is, would this be valuable enough to create a quick start, or is just coming to the documentation in OpenShift good enough? And the quick start would be a little bit of an overkill. Do you have any thoughts there?
I mean, I think a quick start would be good.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no harm in it, right? Like,
yeah.
Right? Like,
well, the harm is, do we focus on doing a quick start for setting up machine sets or something else? Right. It's all about prioritizing.
Well, like I would rather focus on a quick start for like getting machine sets and that low layer infrastructure, the day 1, day 2 stuff.
Yeah.
And then like this kind of thing, I feel like would come 3, right? Like this is like, helping users excel kind of thing. And like, I'm going to do that after I have all my base infrastructure and everything built out and stable first, right? If that makes sense.
Exactly. So that's where our focus will be, is to get those kind of things first, and then the console stuff. All right. I want to hand this off over to Andy now to give us a demo of how to update the login page. And
all right. Thanks, Ollie.
Sweet. Here comes Andy.
Oh no.
Here we go.
All right. So this morning, got a brand new blog post on the OpenShift blog, blog.OpenShift. Yeah. How to enhance the OpenShift login experience. Now, I work with many customers, and this is the typical OpenShift login page that has an identity provider. OpenShift supports a number of pluggable identity providers: HD Password, LDAP, OpenID Connect, you name it. A big concern that I've had since OpenShift 4, and even back to OpenShift 3, is that this is not a good user experience. This cube admin, having it be present. What happens if we can remove it? Because very important, without deleting the cube admin user, because a lot of organizations want to still have that backdoor, trapdoor. So what we're going to show today is how to remove it. Log in using the HD password, but still have the ability to get in as that backdoor if you need it. So let's go ahead and show how to do that. So in this blog post, we talk about the different ways to customize it. We use a number of things. First of all, you can go ahead and run this command. We'll make it nice and big because I'm blind, and I'm sure you all are blind too. OCADM create provider section template. This will basically go ahead and create this very generic template. It looks like this.
That's a language I can read.
It's Golang. Go templates if you're familiar with that.
This is cool.
Nice and simple. Unfortunately, this provides a very generic blank vanilla page. It's white with text, which I'm not a UI guy. We have a bunch of UI folks here on the call. I'm sure a lot of you out there are UI folks. I'm not. I'm a back-end guy. So what you can do is you can go ahead and take the existing login page and just go ahead and snip this little section, this little section here into it. And you get the best of both worlds.
Nice.
So in the blog post, we talk about how you can go ahead and curl your existing login page, save it
Nice.
to a provider template HTML,
Uh-huh.
which I have here. A little bit of cooking show here, just because we have a short amount of time.
Yeah, that's fine.
And if you go back to the post here, we talk about how we can basically take this little main section and snip it in to the existing main section that will come as part of that curl output. And let's go ahead and walk through this. Take this little main section and snip it in.
Somebody's unmuted.
Will come as part of that curl output. And let's go ahead and walk through this. Take the little main section. Come on, Chris. You know you can mute someone, right?
That's you, Andy, I think. Or was it Ali? Uh-oh. No, it's gone now. Go ahead.
All right. So this is the range of all the different providers that are defined in your OpenShift cluster. Your provider is going to be kubeadmin, HP password, you name it. What I do here is I go in and check and say, okay, if it's not named kubeadmin, show it. Otherwise, hide it. That's as simple as that. So all you need to do is have this file, and we need to create a secret with that file contents into the OpenShift config namespace.
Okay.
We'll go ahead and do that. Need to get into the right folder, of course. Minor detail.
Yeah, the file, you need the file.
Evidently. All right, file is now created in there. Now all we need to do next is to patch the OAuth configuration. So if you're familiar with OAuth, that's where you can configure all your identity providers. And there's a section that you can configure for templates. So this is all the different type of templates that you can add, you customize here. And I have this wonderful, wonderful cooking show as always. Command to quickly set that up, this quick OC patch command. That will basically say, go in and set up the provider section with to point to the secret name provider template that we just created a second ago. Go ahead and run that. And it gets created. We then go swing back over here, refresh it. And now we have this wonderful provider template section. Nice and simple. I'm going to go ahead and I'm logged in here as the admin, switch back over to my normal user. We'll hope for the best. Reload the page.
See if it works.
See if it worked.
Oh boy.
Uh-oh.
There we go.
No, it's still there.
Is it still patching or something?
It still might be, there's a console operator.
Yeah, it's got to replace a pod or two, doesn't it?
It does. Still there. All right. I'm going to be lazy and do OC delete pod -- all -- n. Of course, I want to do this when I have a maintenance window or no one's around, of course, right?
You misspelled OpenShift.
Won't be the first time.
That's an interesting misspelling of OpenShift.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Interesting. All right. So you're deleting these pods. Pods are going to be regenerated. Hopefully. Is there a pod hanging? Your cooking show is no match for OpenShift TV.
It's okay. Oh, there we go.
There we go.
Like
All right.
Yep.
Cool.
Just had to kick it. As you see there, we cannot get to the kubeadmin. It's still there. It just did. So I can go in and log in as a normal user.
Cool.
And basically, I don't have any projects. It's a very vanilla user. Great. However, I'm going to cheat. User one. And perfect. We'll go ahead and log out. And I'm going to cheat because I sat with Ali and he sent me the credentials to this cluster. So I'm going to go back to my chat with Ali. Hi, Ali. How you doing? Yada, yada. Try to find.
Hey, Andy, are you joining?
That was a conversation about 45 minutes ago. Yep. So here is your backdoor. If you need to backdoor yourself into your cluster, you click on HE password.
Okay.
You'll notice here, this is the name of the identity provider at the top.
Right.
You just type in kubeadmin. That will then switch it over to point to the kubeadmin identity provider. You can then do kubeadmin, put the password in, And uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
All right, let's try this again. My cooking show is really failing today.
Q:admin.
Yep, that's the actual name of it.
Yeah.
And now it's not working. Oh no. Oh,
Do you need to drop
I need to
all the
actually hit
crap
enter.
after it?
I need to hit enter.
Oh,
so it
that helps
actually
too.
So it actually targets that one. All right. Cube admin.
The enter button, the
The
most
enter button
important key.
card. And there we go. We're now in as our Cube admin user, have full cluster abilities and can see all the different projects in the cluster.
So the question from Det Conan Kudo, so why not just make this a flag for the console settings, specifically about hiding providers from the UI? It's a fair question, but I think this is a first step towards that, right? Like reiterate. So it's just like open source software, right? Like we iterate and improve things, right? Like Kubernetes didn't start off at version 1.19. It started off at version 0. something. So, we're iterating on this. And Andy, do you have more to show us?
I'm going to show you one more thing. I'm not going to do it now.
Okay,
but,
cool.
Well, I could, but I'm not going to But one of the cool things about this is that this is, if you recall, this is a really, really, really ugly name. The name of the provider. This is just the back-end name of it.
Mm-hmm.
What happens if you want to call it, like a lot of organizations have internal names for their identity systems?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You can change the name to whatever you want. And this blog post kind of talks about the different ways of, okay, if I have this my HTTP password provider, go ahead and show HTTP password login or some code name for your organization. So you really are able to customize the user experience to suit your organization. So how many of you are out there are interested in this type of feature? I know a lot of my customers are probably.
I am.
I know a lot of people are. Why didn't you tell me this? When we met last week.
Right. Yeah. So Xconfigurator says this is a super nice demo. Loving that. Didn't know you could customize the templates directly. Also, you forgot to sacrifice something for the demo gods. That was my fault. That was my job. I'm sorry.
It's okay. There's always tomorrow. It's always tomorrow.
That's true. There's always tomorrow or the next show, which is coming up in 2 minutes.
That's
Anything
right.
else we want to talk about real quick?
So time flew by.
Yeah. We got a ton of feedback though in that short little bit of time.
Yeah, that's great.
So, yeah. I sent you the link to the chat archives, which we keep on Discord, folks. Is it possible to just skip the login with screen? Yep, sometimes it is. You can totally make that possible and insecure if you'd like. That's your call. If you want to check out more shows on the channel, check out our calendar at red.ht/streamcal. Coming up next is DevNation. They're talking about moving from Spring Boot to Quarkus, which I think is going to be super awesome for everybody that's using Spring Boot. So please stick around for that. What do you have coming up? When are you doing the show again? Every other week?
In 2 weeks, we'll be back.
2 weeks, we'll be back. What's cooking in 2 weeks, buddy?
We're going to go ahead and we're going to showcase some more customizations, as well as maybe we're going to get the audience involved with something. Stay tuned.
Ooh, I like this. All right. Awesome. Thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you, everyone, for joining OpenShift TV today here. Thank you. I appreciate all of your time. And stay tuned for DevNation. Thank you, everyone.
Bye, all.